our lentil curry today, we are going to be using 3/4 cups of the MASOOR DAAL, the red lentils, which I have taken here, washed really well and soaked it for about an hour. Well, then we have some of the spices here, which I will talk about as I'm adding it to the curry. The key ingredient that I like for this recipe a lot and brings out a lot of flavor is the curry leaves. You can use fresh curry leaves if you happen to go to the supermarket and they have it. I like to have on hand at all times, so I will dry my curry leaves when I find them at the supermarket. So I have dried them here, about 15 to 20 leaves here. Today I'm going to be using fresh coriander right out of the garden, and that brings out a great flavor. So let's get started now and prepare our absolutely delicious and great tasting red lentil curry or MASOOR DAAL. And I like to have the tomatoes prepared beforehand, so I'm going to just dice the tomato and put it in a little blender and blend it. Once we start the cooking, everything has to be ready. So now that we have our tomatoes ready here, I'm going to put it aside. So we'll turn our heat on to about medium high and put a pot on it and add 3 tablespoons of oil and let the oil heat up a little bit. So once the oil is warm, we're going to add our curry leaves that I showed you earlier. About 15 to 20 curry leaves. Just give it a couple of seconds for it to infuse the flavor from the leaves, and then I am going to add a half teaspoon of mustard seeds. Just as it's about to start popping, we're going to add our crushed tomatoes. Here, as you can hear, the mustard seeds are starting to pop, and I'm going to add the crushed tomatoes to it. We'll cook this for a few minutes so the tomato gets softer. In the meantime, we'll have our spices ready, and I'll tell you what I'm going to use for the spices today. As we can see now, the tomatoes have softened for a few minutes here. We're going to add all our spices. So we'll start with the turmeric, the salt, the mix of coriander and cumin powder. Then we'll add our crushed garlic. Give it a good mix so the spices get infused into the sauce. There are many different ways of making this dal, but I find this is to be the most simplest and absolutely delicious. If you choose, you can add potatoes to this dal. Today I'm not going to add any. So this you can stir and mix for about a couple of minutes. And the next thing I'm going to add is the dal that I have washed and soaked. For this dal, actually it is such a soft dal that even if you didn't have time to soak it, you can just wash it and use it right at the same time. So now we see that, you know, the oil is beginning to separate. So that's what we're looking for. So this is when we are going to add our dal. I'm going to add all of this in here. And I'm going to let it cook for about a minute or two before I add any of the water. The general guideline that I follow for this dal is that for every cup of dal, I'll add about 3 cups of water and then adjust as needed. Start with 3 cups of water, and if I find that I need more or less, I'll cook it for longer or add more water. So as you can see that some of the dals are starting to becoming translucent. So in the end, that is what we want all our dal seeds to look like. So I find that you can serve this dal with just about anything. It can be eaten on its own in a bowl. I usually serve it with a homemade roti or even some basmati rice. Today I'm going to serve it with basmati rice. I also have a recipe for my homemade rotis that I will post as well. It's about 3 minutes now. I think I'm going to give it another minute before I add the water, and then cover it up and let it cook for about 10 to 15 minutes, and I'll check to make sure that the dal is cooked and we're not running out of water. This is one of the easiest dals that you can make, and it's delicious, packed full of flavor. My kids absolutely love it. And if you're in a rush someday for dinner time, it can be ready in under 40 minutes. So really good quick meal. So now, as you can see, most of the liquid has evaporated from this dal, and I'm going to add now 3 cups of water to this. Give it a quick stir Now I'll cover it up and cook it for about 10 to 15 minutes. I have one green chili here which I'm going to split it in half. And I actually like my dal a little bit spicy, so I am going to add this to the dal as it's cooking. I grow cilantro in the summer in the garden and absolutely love the flavor. Can't get a better cilantro flavor than coming right out of your garden. So I'm going to just clean it up here. Some of them have started forming seed, as you can see, and that gives also a really good flavor as well. I'm going to chop it and put it in the dal as a garnish at the end. The chili that I used for the dal today was also from the garden. It's a type of chili that we've been growing for quite a few years now, so I will collect the seeds at the end of the season for next year. Now I'm just going to wash it and chop it and have it ready. Fresh coriander, there's nothing like fresh coriander. We'll do a quick check at around 10 minutes as we see that the dal is not ready, so we will let it cook for another 5 to 10 minutes and we'll come back. It's about 20 minutes now. I'm going to check the dal. It still looks like it could use a few more minutes, so I'm going to leave the lid off and cook it for another 5 to 6 minutes so I can get the consistency that I'm looking for. So it's 5 minutes now and I have turned the stove on low, but this is the consistency we're looking for. You can see the lentils are ready and there's just enough liquid in here. This is the consistency I like. Some people may want to have it a little bit thicker, maybe a little bit more water, but this is what I was looking for. I'm just going to quickly give it a quick taste to make sure there's enough salt and everything in it. So let's just take a spoonful. Perfect. It's just enough salt in here. I won't add any more. Just a tinge of spice in it from the chili. And I'm going to turn the heat off now. Put it in a bowl for serving. Add the cilantro on it and then we are ready to give it a taste test. We'll garnish it with a little bit of lime juice and the top cilantro that we had cut up before. And there we have it. So it's ready. Let's give it a taste test and see what it tastes like. So we have our dal ready and I have a bowl of basmati rice here. I'm going to have a scoop of the dal into the rice and I'm going to give this a taste test. Just mix it up. Oh my gosh, this is so good and it's so hearty, easy to make. It's just a hint of spice and the lemon and the cilantro just elevates this to a whole new level. If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more delicious recipes. Bye!